friends. We are on episode 7 of the Third Pint Theory. And tonight, or today, depending on when you're listening, we're looking at the New Zealand Beer Awards. It's myself, Michael Donaldson, the editor of Pursuit of Hoppiness, and as always, my co-host,
Martin Bridges, the beer bigwig.
Yeah, welcome, Martin. That was some spectacular night, August the 2nd in Christchurch. I think it will live long in the memory of a lot of people, with perhaps, I'm always loath to say this, but perhaps everyone's favourite brewery, or even their second favourite, depending on where they live, but really popular brewery, Brave Brewing, absolutely sweeping the floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
they
after
smashed it.
their appearance on this very podcast, a few episodes ago, I was delighted for them, and I'm sure, as you say, I think it's a popular win. I think they've been around the scene for quite a while. They've come close in the West Coast IPA Challenge,
yes,
before, I think, but I don't think they've won anything significantly. But yeah, absolutely, they smashed it.
Yeah. If you're just tuning in to the New Zealand Beer Awards for the first time, or learning about them, there's a number of levels of trophies for the large brewery, the medium brewery, small brewery, and micro brewery. And then there's an overall champion. And Brave Brewing won the overall champion brewery. They won the champion small brewery. They won a trophy for their flagship IPA, Tiger Milk. And if you want to hear more, if you want to hear more about Tiger Milk, go back and find the episode where Martin visits Brave Brewing down in Hastings, and they talk a lot about the cult of Tiger Milk. And they won another trophy for their Pacific Wheat Ale, Stay Gold. And so 5 trophies on the night, I think.
Yeah, I think they
got a third trophy. Yes, tell me, Martin.
They got that 3. They got the 3 category trophies,
yes,
I think, as well as the champion small brewery and then the overall grand champion. They got a trophy in the experimental category for the West Coast Pilsner True Blue. So, I don't think anybody has ever won 3 category trophies before.
Not in recent memory. It's a phenomenal performance, and 8 golds in total. So that's, given that there were 84 gold medals handed out to something like 625 entries, so 84 golds, and they won 10% of them. Given their size, that is a remarkable performance.
It's a real quality return, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a quick summary, and we'll talk more about this. Champion Large Brewery Garage Project, who won 10 gold medals, and for them to win 10% of the medals is not unusual. Champion Medium Brewery, riffing off their Champion Small International Brewery at the Aussie Beer Awards, is Altitude from Queenstown, and they won a couple of trophies. And the Champion Micro Brewery, a really lovely story, Karamu Beer Works from the Waikato. And the Champion Beer was Garage Project Chance, Luck and Magic 2021 edition. So I think that's the top line summary of the beer awards, and we'll talk more about a couple of the other ones, the tourism and the sustainability award as we progress. But Martin, what I have a inkling as to what beer you might be drinking tonight?
Well, after that those awards, I just had to dash out to the supermarket and pick up a bottle of Brave Tiger Milk. And I was very happy that it is easy to pick up at my local Woolworths, and it's as good as I remember. It's an absolutely stunning example. Now, the best IPA in New Zealand, which I think, in and amongst those awards, I always remember talking to breweries in the past, and they were always keen to win the IPA trophy because it's such a competitive field. And
yes.
Not only did Brave take the trophy with a gold for Tiger Milk, they also got a gold for Loki Doki. West Coast IPA Challenge beer, that also got a gold, and I think they got a silver Terrible Lizards, which was last year's West Coast IPA Challenge beer. So they've absolutely smashed the hoppy beers. I'm very much enjoying my Tiger Milk.
Yeah. Excuse me. The interesting thing, I was just looking back on some records of previous New Zealand Beer Awards, because what I was looking for, Martin, was sort of who's got maybe the most awarded beer. And a lot of it, back in the day, people used to say, Epic Armageddon used to win lots of awards. And with chance, luck and magic, admittedly, the 2021 version popping up and getting the champion beer and winning that European ale category trophy. When you sort of combine it with the 2020 version, which swept the world, so to speak, you're having, won trophies abroad at the World Beer Cup, not trophies, medals. So I thought I'd have a quick look at the results. And Stay Gold, that beer from Brave, I think that's about its third or fourth gold medal at New Zealand Beer Awards.
Wow.
It's a sneaky good beer. And it probably got due reward with a trophy for consistency of performance.
That one, it is a really good beer. A Pacific Ale is kind of one of those categories. Or what exactly does it mean? I think for those of us who remember it, Stone and Wood from Australia had a classic with their Pacific Ale.
They still make it, and it's it started a style, and there've been a number of breweries in New Zealand who have brewed a variation of it with a bit of wheat and sort of angling towards New Zealand and Australian hops. And you're allowed American hops because it's Pacific. But yeah, no one's probably nailed it consistently except for Brave, maybe. I'm trying to think of others that have done it, but none jump out.
No, I think it's just it's great. I think it's really interesting how some of these beers I think have been around a while and kind of tick away and get the medals in the background, and then suddenly 1 year all the stars align, and it's golds and trophies all popping up together.
That's right, and that's sort of what happened with McLeod's last year when they took out the Champion Medium Brewery and had the Champion Beer, and they had, I'm pretty sure, 8 gold medals in 2024, and it was the same thing. Like everything just came together for them that year. On that note, with Chance, Luck and Magic 2021, it has taken over briefly, who knows, from the 2020 version as I guess, the flagship out of the Wild workshop at Garage Project, because the 2020 version, as we said, it's picked up a couple of trophies here. Was champion beer maybe in 2022. It's picked up a silver medal and a bronze medal at the World Beer Cup, which is, a phenomenal performance.
That's a huge achievement, I think. Whereas, for people who don't know how these things work, obviously at the New Zealand Beer Awards, there are multiple gold and silver medals per category. If you meet the judging threshold for a gold, you get a gold. Whereas at the World Beer Cup, which is always judged in the US, there is one gold, one silver, one bronze, and if you don't get one of those, you're nowhere.
Yeah.
So, for Chancellor Magic to win a medal at those awards twice,
yeah,
I think it obviously shows the absolute quality of that beer. I did think, I should. I'm sure I've got one of the 2021s in my cellar. I should pull one of those out. But it was that year they couldn't get the 375ml bottles, and so it's all bottled in 750s. And I thought that a 750 of that beer all to myself was probably not the best idea.
Alone in front of your laptop. It's probably not the most joyous occasion. Well, you're not alone. You're with me, but we're in separate home offices. But yeah, I know what you mean. Because it's such a cool beer. And a celebratory one, and especially in the 750ml, that you really want to be sharing it and having it on a special occasion. I spoke to Garage Project briefly about this, and I asked Joss Ruffle from Garage Project about whether they were ever loath to enter these beers into competitions because they might not have that much stock left. Yeah, but he said they've got really good at building a cellar and a library, and hopefully the intention is to, be able to pull one out in 10 years' time or further down the line and see how it's going. But they've obviously got enough that they can enter it into competitions, but not so much that you can buy it anymore. I don't think you can get your hands on that unless you know someone who will probably charge you an extortionate price on the black market or something.
I'll take bids for the 750 that's sat in my cellar. Please feel free. Anybody who wants to approach me and offer me huge amounts of money for
that's right,
the best beer in New Zealand that you can't buy, then go for it.
Yeah, exactly. One thing that struck me out of the awards is that now it seems Queenstown is the hazy capital of New Zealand. Canyon Brewing took the Champion Hazy Pale Ale with their a core range beer called Vacation Hazy. I think from memory it's in that sub 5% class. So, and it was up against beers up to 6%. That's how they split that category now. There are some IPAs in the pale ale category, but they're using pale ale as a broader descriptor or catch-all, and riffing off the Brewers Association in America. And there's another category for strong pale ale, or as the Americans call it, or hazy IPA here. And that was Altitude Brewing Remarks, which they brewed in collaboration with Verdant down in the south of England, in Cornwall there. And using the Verdant yeast. And I don't know if you've had the Remarks, Martin.
I've not. It's I've heard lots of good things about it, but I've not. To be honest, and I think
you don't drink many hazies.
A lot of people know this. I don't. I wouldn't generally go out of my way to try a hazy unless somebody says, you've got to really try this one because it's awesome. So I will. Well, if there is any of it still around, I will look out for it.
I think there may be a rebrew incoming, and it's just a little bit different to the typical New Zealand hazy. It's really interesting how the style has evolved here to kind of suit New Zealand hops, and I think they tend to get sweeter and more luscious than maybe some other variations overseas. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's kind of the vibe I get from people, that the New Zealand ones can be quite sweet. And this one's not. I mean, it's fruity, but it's not sweet, and it's got a lovely bitterness and a lovely kind of textural mouthfeel that with a bit of chalkiness in it. And that yeast character, I think, really adds to it. It's a good beer, and hopefully they do some more. We shall see.
Yeah. I will definitely look out for it. I was actually quite surprised. That Altitude were now up in that medium size brewery category. They and maybe it's kind of weird. Sat up here in the North Island and not quite as aware of what's going on elsewhere, but I see Altitude quite a bit in six packs in the supermarket, but I don't generally see their beers other than that, and so therefore it was a little bit of a surprise to see them kind of punching in the Champion medium brewery.
I agree, because they had previously been the Champion small brewery in New Zealand, I think perhaps 2021. But they are one of the few breweries that, I guess, over the past 2 or 3 years, where the industry's been a bit doom and gloom, who have been quite optimistic and positive, and they have grown significantly in the past year. When everyone else is kind of battening down the hatches, they actually had some new tanks come in, and they expanded their brewery, increased their production. Now they're in the medium category, and a lot of it's based off, from talking to Eddie Gapper from Altitude Brewing, a lot of it's based off, there's a bit of a hum in the Queenstown tourism scene, and there are people there. And I guess one of the blessings of a really good tap room, and the Altitude Brewing tap room is fantastic. Great location right on the lake. Yeah. Is that you just always have a new people coming through wanting to try it. So that kind of, you might have a churn going on, but there's always new people coming in wanting to try it, and they have really good distribution in the area, especially on tap. A fantastic performance from them to grow and get better, basically, because they won 5 gold medals and 2 trophies, one for Remarks Hazy IPA and another one for their Powder Day New Zealand Pilsner. Yeah. So
and that's fabulous really performance. Quality, isn't it? That to me is, and I know I remember seeing that there was an interview, I think when they won the award, the Champion Small International in the Aussie Awards. I remember seeing an interview where they said their focus had been to get better in every aspect of the business, to get better at the taproom, to get better at distribution, to get better at quality, and winning the Champion Brewery Award means you're not just winning medals and winning trophies, but you're not winning medals, if you see what I mean. You're not entering isn't meddling. So, because you kind of lose points for non-meddling beers. So therefore, they've got a really, they've got a good hit rate, and they're getting the trophies, and you kind of reap the rewards from that. I'm really pleased for them.
Yeah, yeah. And like, it's worth noting that I think that medium category, everyone always says it's the most competitive. It's where the bulk of New Zealand breweries lie. It's over 250,000 litres per annum production, but less than, might be less than either 500, no, less than 1 million, I think. I'd have to go, I apologise for not having all those facts, but it is where the bulk of the production lies in this country. And when you look at a number of breweries who did really well and winning multiple medals, you go through the list of people that won 3 and 4 medals, and you've got Parrot Dog, Liberty, Behemoth, Lakeman, Sunshine, Shining Peak, Three Boys, I think Hop Federation, Abandoned Brewery, Emerson's, they'd be in the large beer category. That's quite a chunk of really good breweries in there, and they all won multiple medals. And I think any one of those in another year could have taken home a trophy for a Champion Brewery. I think 3 gold medals in some eras has probably been more than sufficient to win a big gong,
Well, I think, if you look at like one of those breweries that was hitting 4 golds, if they'd converted one of those golds into a trophy, they've got a chance at the champion, and so I think it's one of those that champion medium is an interesting one, because it definitely changes hands every year. You kind of see somebody, and I think that's awesome to see kind of new breweries popping up into there. McLeod's have been in there, Behemoth have been in there, Shining Peak have been in there, and it's good to see a new winner, and it's also good to see that the ones who've won it in the past are still nipping away at the heels. They're still in there. Most of those that were in that list that you just read out, of the 4 and 3 gold winners. There's a lot of great quality brews out there.
Yeah, and I mean, within all that, you could tease out a few storylines of real interest. I think Hop Federation's performance was really good. They've always been a great brewery, but a couple of years ago they moved to Motueka out of Rewaka, which is now home to Jason Bathgate's Element Brewing, their old site, and they started using the brewery, the old Deep Creek Brewery brew kit. So when Deep Creek expanded a few years ago, they sold the kit. Hop Federation picked it up. They had it in storage for a while until they moved into this new site. And having spoken to Simon Nicholas from Hop Federation about this, he just says that brewery that they got from Deep Creek just massively improved the quality of the beer, and especially the hop expression. And for a brewery with the name Hop in there, with the word hop in their name, and basically in the middle of all the hop fields, that's a really good result. And they got gold medals for their lager, their Pilsner, their hazy made with NZH 109 experimental hop, and another hoppy beer slipped my mind just now. But yeah, so really good result for them. And I think you were quite happy with one of the, I know you were really happy Three Boys got another gold for Oyster Stout.
Absolutely. As featured on this very podcast a little while ago. But
Yes.
the other one, the one that really I had a big grin on my face was Bookbinder. Emerson's Bookbinder got a gold, and
Yes.
that I think many of us of this vintage would count Bookbinder as maybe our gateway beer, and it's been around a long time. Obviously now they're owned by Lion, but they're still bashing out really good quality beers, and a gold for Bookbinder is just
Yeah.
really nice to see.
Yeah. I do like it when, beers that have been around for a long time continue to pop up in metal. On that note, beers that have been around for a long time, I was really pleased for the crew down at Brew Moon in Amberley in North Canterbury. I was going to say tiny little brew pub, but in fact, they've just expanded their kind of restaurant area. They shut down for a while or worked on a limited footprint while they upgraded it. And the timing couldn't be more perfect for them because they won 2 gold medals for, and this is a brewery that's been around for over 20 years, just working away really quietly, making good stuff like their Hothead IPA way back in the day was way ahead of its time. The Dark Side of the Moon Stout, that was one of the beers that picked up a gold at the awards just gone. And the other one was their Pilsner, which is called Check Please. Czech spelt with the Z as in the country. And like amazing result for, again, a really small brewery to take a trophy with a beer that has been part of their core range, I think, since they started.
Yeah, I think that's just an awesome story. I mean, there are always some good stories coming through from the awards. I always kind of have a bit of a look at ones that I've never heard of. You always get in something, and you kind of go through those results, and you go, and you kind of scan through the brochure, the catalogue of results. I'm like, who are Ghost Brewing? And I'd never heard of Ghost Brewing. Apparently, now done my research, they're based in Christchurch, but they picked up a gold for a New Zealand IPA, a silver for a New Zealand lager, a silver for an international lager, a bronze in British and European ale, and a bronze in international pale ale. That's a pretty good return. For a brewery that had completely eluded me. So I
have had a Ghost beer a number of years ago in Christchurch. I think maybe there's one of those bars down that little strip where all the fancy restaurants are and the flower baskets. I've forgotten the name of that street, even though I used to live in Christchurch and worked just opposite it. New Regent Street. See, it came to me. I'm not losing my mind yet. And anyway, I don't know for sure, but I thought they might have been getting contract brewed at Three Boys, but I would have to double check on that. But really cool to see that result. And there was some other small breweries that popped up there with like Wilderness got a gold medal, Alibi. And when I say small, like they're not the mainstream supermarket giants that we used to see. Heyday got another one, Dr. Rudy's there down in the Auckland waterfront. A little brewery called DB got one for I think it was a low carb beer potentially. I did see that
Steinlager Classic.
Steinlagers, yeah, Steinlager Classic and Steinlager Pure, I think, both got golds. And I mean, that's great. Yeah, Steinlager Pure is another one of those beers that just year in, year out pops up with gold medals at this level. But Martin, a couple of classic craft beers missed entirely, which surprised me. One of them was Liberty Brewing Knife Party, and the other one was Panhead Supercharger. Both, I would say, much loved, highly reviewed, well reviewed on Untapped, usually in really good nick. And yeah, they missed medals.
That was a bit of a surprise. I think, I still drink Knife Party. It's one of my favorite IPAs, and it's always a good beer. And so it was surprising to see it not get a medal. I think it's an interesting thing, and every brewer will kind of accept this, that beer judging is a subjective exercise. The judging panel for the Brewers Guild Awards is top notch. They have some really high quality judges, and they have a very good process, and they're all very, very, very good at doing what they do. But still, things can happen. You get that beer, it comes at a strange point in the day. Maybe it was the first beer up, and the judges haven't quite got themselves dialed in yet, or maybe it came after a really stunning example, and much as though you try and judge each beer on its merits, you can't help but have your mind affected by what came before. So
yeah,
I think it's a surprise. There were a couple of other examples I spotted as well. Maybe not on such classic beers, but Behemoth's Halfway Down Lager won a gold last year. No medal this year. So, and these beers are not changing in quality significantly over time.
I think it can just be, it might be a slightly aged version. There could be just in a batch, even one or two bottles might not be ideal. You just don't know. It doesn't take anything away. Like Liberty won 3 gold medals, and 2 of them were for hoppy beers. I think Citra got one, and Obro, the pale ale, and so it was Knife Party, the IPA, the one in the middle, if you like, missed out. They got one for Divine Wind as well. So just the way things go. I was remiss to say what beer I was drinking, Martin.
Yes.
And bizarrely, we've had a couple of pods in a row where I preempted the awards by drinking gold medal winners. I think it's reflective of my extremely good taste, perhaps. But I think the previous week I was drinking Zeus Skis and Jeans.
Oh, you were?
Which was Altitude collab with a Colorado brewery called Westbound and Down. And that is really, really, really good beer. And I saw Forest Hill Liquorland. There was a comment there from Susie to me saying, such a good beer, or maybe she put it on Instagram, and it had sold out and they wanted more. So that's a great result for both the retailer and Altitude. And then the other week I had 8 Wired's Sticky Barley Wine, which is a tremendous beer. I think I noted at the time I took a very long time to get through the glass. It's 12% ABV. But yeah, that picked up, I think it picked up a trophy in the,
it did?
Whatever category it was in, fruit and flavored. Yeah. And so I rummaged around in my fridge to try and find another gold medal winner. And I've got McLeod's Pioneer Porter, which is it's a really good porter. Won a gold medal, and was one of, I think, just two beers from McLeod's that won gold medals. So maybe not up to their usual high standard, but I went through the results and they didn't miss medals with very many. And so after a year where everything turned gold, this year it was all silver and bronze. So it is how the cards can fall in judging. You can enter the same beer one year, as you said, with that Liberty one, get gold. The Behemoth one, get gold, and then nothing the next year. And it's just the nature of it. It's a fickle business, beer judging. Yeah.
Talking of your mention of the altitude Zeus skis in jeans, which is an excellent name for a beer. One of the other things that I thought was quite interesting was looking at how different beers that do well in one competition do in others. So the Zeus skis and jeans came second in the Malthouse West Coast IPA challenge recently, I think, and then got a gold in the Brewers Guild Awards, and Batch Bedford, I think, came second in the Smith's New Zealand IPA championship, and then got gold and a trophy for New Zealand IPA, the Brewers Guild Awards. So it would appear that the trick is to come second in the other competition.
Yes.
And that you get golds and trophies and things in the New Zealand Awards. It's always interesting to see how things go.
Yeah, and that happened last year with Brave. Terrible Lizards was the runner-up at the Malthouse West Coast IPA Challenge, and last year it won the IPA trophy. So you're right, coming second is
so everybody should be aiming to come second in the Smiths competition or the Malthouse West Coast IPA Challenge. That's your gateway to glory.
I must say the year that didn't happen was Good George Haze of Glory. New Zealand IPA did win the Smiths IPA Challenge and then won the trophy at the New Zealand Beer Awards. So there are exceptions to our newly minted rule, but look out for the runner-ups. I think talking about multiple trophies, which we sort of started this on, Sawmill had an exceptional evening with, and it's unusual, they got 3 trophies, but in like 3 different spheres of reference, if you like. They got, for the 6th year running, they won the Sustainability Trophy, which is, it's become the Sawmill award. And I think you're going to go in
now. I think,
and I think you're going to go and visit them and talk about that. I think, Martin, at some point.
I am indeed. I'm just setting up a date to pop up to Sawmill, and I'm sure they'll be very generous in sharing their time and their knowledge around sustainability. Obviously, they're a B Corp. Not many. It's a very hard certification to get. So, looking forward to that. That was a great win for them. They also, I think, took out the packaging.
They did take out the packaging award, which in previous years, I'm pretty sure it's been quite specific around labels and design and look. But this year, it seemed to be for packaging in general. And they do have a great look, but I couldn't see from the description on the award what exactly. I know they did some cool things during the year, but yeah, it's the packaging awards. It's another very subjective one,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Heyday won a packaging award at the Aussie Beer Awards, and that was very specific. It was about just on one beer, which was one of their lager series, and it had just this beautiful orange cat on the label.
Oh, yes.
And so that was, they drilled right down and said, this is the best label that we've got here. Whereas the Sawmill one, I think it was just packaging in general. But on that note,
But they've also got
raved.
They're talking of Sawmill. The other one they got was the wheat beer trophy.
Yes, I was about to say, and that was the packaging, and that was important to me because it came in a 6-pack when they released it late last year, and it's like a 6-pack of Hefeweizen, amazing, and hopefully that's still the case.
Michael, you're one of the few people who would react with such joy to a 6-pack of Hefeweizen, and I'm very glad. I'm very happy for you in that. But I always I joke that winning the wheat trophy is like winning best foreign language film at the Oscars. It's very those in the industry will recognize what a valuable win and what a recognition of that. But nobody will watch it or drink it.
Absolute nonsense. Absolutely. You're talking about one of the classic beer styles of the world, Martin. Come on. Oh, there'll be some Germans knocking at your door looking for your head. Yeah, I love a Hefeweizen. And yeah, congrats to Sawmill for translating that very good and very ambitious plan to put it into a 6-pack into a trophy. So it should be encouragement enough. Speaking of sort of the other awards that are not beer related, very pleasing to see Wellington's craft beer capital take out the tourism award. Because they do so much for beer in that region. They've been going for a really long time. They've got really good events that they put on, notably their fresh hop event, Hopstock.
Hopstock is, if ever I've happened to find myself in Wellington at that time, it's always a great time. I was really, really pleased with that win. It's a small team of people who give their time and put their time into that. And I think, in tough times like the industry is having at the moment, those kinds of initiatives that kind of encourage people, tell people what awesome beer is available in their city, is just really important. And it was great to see the recognition for that team.
And I think 2 years running, I think that award has gone to Wellington, because I think Beervana won it last year. So it kind of stamps Wellington as the place to go for beer still. There will be many areas that might argue or put up their hand, but I still think Wellington is New Zealand's craft beer experiential capital. There's no place like it, especially around Beervana. So, yeah. And I know, Martin, you did some extensive research into the Champion Manufacturer Trophy, which is another odd one. People might not understand what that's about.
The Champion Manufacturer is kind of deals with the fact that a number of breweries, particularly contract brewers who all brew, might brew at a different location, and it was quite interesting because it was stuck in my head that Steam Brewing in Auckland always win this, and they didn't in this year. It was taken out by B Studio in Napier, and I thought, oh, that must be a change. And then I went back and I looked at the last 5 years of the award, and it alternates every year between. In 2021 it was B Studio, in 2022 it was Steam, in 2023 it was B Studio, in 2024 it was Steam, and of course this year it was B Studio. And so I think that's what was a really interesting one. I think clearly those two locations are pumping out great beer. It's interesting. B Studio make a lot of the Garage Project core range. So and I guess that's what drove that.
Yeah, I think Shane Morley, who's a friend of mine and who works at Steam Brewing and is one of New Zealand's best judges, and I'm sure Shane won't mind me sharing this, he noted that he was judging on a table that gave the only gold to a non-alcoholic beer, and that was to Garage Project Tiny Original. And as he said, that was enough to give the champion manufacturer crown to B Studio at the expense of Steam. So he said at least no one can accuse him of being biased. And of course, this is all judged blind, so he wouldn't know what beer he was getting, but they obviously recognized quality when they saw it. And I think that Garage Project Tiny and maybe the batch range kind of alternate in terms of taking the top honours or being among the more awarded non-alcs, and Good George Virtual Reality is another one that's been up there over the years. And so where those non-alcs get manufactured could become the tipping point for deciding, because there's not many places that can pasteurize beer.
Absolutely.
Which you need when you're doing a non-alc. So you have to go to one of the bigger producers to get it made if you want it pasteurized and kept shelf stable, because non-alcs are so prone to infections and whatnot. The other interesting thing, I will say that it's a little bugbear of mine that the non-alcs get judged alongside the 2.5 percenters. This is because they're bundled together in low and no. And I know it's a really easy catch-all category. And there's probably not enough non-alcs to justify having their own category. That said, there's probably more of them than wheat beers. I would love to see it separated out, because the trophy in that category went to Shining Peak's Little Fake, which I can hand on heart testify is an extremely good beer. I love my 2.5 percenters after a round of golf. And when I was at Titirangi, when I lived in Auckland, it was always Sawmill Nimble. And I love that beer. So tasty. You can have 2 or 3 and drive home, no problem. And now that I'm in New Plymouth and the local club, as it should, has Shining Peak Little Fake on tap, and great way to finish a round of golf. And but you put that up against Garage Project Tiny, and I don't think there's anyone who's going to give the award to Tiny if they don't know the ABV. And I think in a lot of these cases, they don't know. It's just a head-to-head. Which of these is the better beer? So I would like to...
It's a bit tough on Tiny, that one really. Is just, there's just so much more flavour. That 2.5% alcohol can just enables you to carry so much more flavour. It's a tough one.
Yeah. But yeah, great to say. I reviewed Tiny not so long ago. It's a regular in our house. My wife loves it, and I usually leave it to her. I like the clearer non-alcs, but I had one recently, and I was so impressed with it. They've done a lot of work on that beer. It's a constant work in progress for them, and it's tasting great.
I heard, and talking of that, I heard an interview recently with the head of research at Garage Project, and he said exactly that was that the probably one of their biggest areas of focus on in their research program was on the low and no. How can you get flavor and mouthfeel into low and no alcohol beer. So, and I think those categories have come on in leaps and bounds in the last few years, and just the continuing evolution, continuing work in those. It's just it's great to see.
Yeah, it is. There was another interesting beer that won a trophy in the amber and dark ale category, and I had to go and look this up. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know anything about it. And it's called DCBC from Emerson's, and DCBC, and it's the Dunedin City Brewers Collaboration, and I think this is pretty amazing, and it sort of speaks to a community, and in particular, Dunedin's very close-knit little community down there in the beer world. They've got a giant brewery in Speight's. They've got a pretty big brewery in Emerson's, and a lot of really cool small breweries. And the DCBC is the breweries include BS Brewing, Noisy Brewing, Cell Division, Arc, Black Rock Brewing, I've never heard of them, Rudd House, Dog Star Brew Lab, and Emerson's. So it's a collective of brewers, and they got together and made a Cascadian dark ale or a black IPA, depending on how you want to describe it. And it sounds like right up my alley. And I would love to get my hands on some, but I fear it's a draft or a keg only release. So maybe on the back of this, they might put it in a can. That would be really cool. But what a great story, like that all these breweries get together, and it's a case of not, for once, too many chefs spoiling the broth. It was,
they
got the result.
And a great style. I have a soft spot for black IPAs. I think there was kind of a period, or probably 10 years ago now, was it when black IPAs were really popular, and then they kind of vanished completely. So I'm whenever one pops up, I'm always interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you see them less and less.
Harvest Moon, McLaren's Harvest Moon is always a good one. And that's out now. It always comes out this time of year, and definitely worth looking at. On the darker side, another one of your favourites picked up a trophy from Beer Baroness. Yeah. Beer Baroness took out the Stout and Porter trophy with a brown ale, which I thought was great. But brown ale is very close to my heart. Madame Brown is a kind of an American style brown ale, and is an awesome beer. I think, and this, you were talking a little while ago about how Wellington is still the craft beer capital. Christchurch can't be too far behind. I think there was some great results out of Christchurch, and Beer Baroness had a really strong result. I think 10 medals from 10 beers. I believe, and a trophy.
And another gold, yeah. They did do it, for again a very small brewery. They've been consistently high quality over the last few years.
And across
on that
the
note,
range as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
barrel aged beer in there, and there was the brown ale, and there was a bunch of different styles. They weren't they weren't just kind of nailing one area. I think they're really good people. They make great beer. Their packaging's great, and I have to say that
Yeah.
anytime I do go down to Christchurch, then Pomeroy's is always my first stop.
Yep.
And most of their beers on tap there, and the brewery out the back. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
great.
so for people who don't know, Pomeroy's is the home of Beer Baroness, and it's one and the same business now. They merged the two together. The other thing that, just talking about the 100%ers, and we won't get all of these, but the Garage Project entered 27 beers and got 27 medals. That is, it's just a fantastic result. Not far behind them, Shining Peak, 19 out of 19. And there will be others that had a 100% record. I will say one of the interesting stats out of this is there were 625 beer entries, 84 gold medals, 208 silver, and exactly 208 bronze, for a grand total of 500 medals awarded. And my sixth form maths brain will tell me that's around 80%. So it seems like an awful lot of medals, and I know just the way things work these days that a lot of breweries are, well, there's a number of reasons. There's the financial cost of entering a lot of beers. Yeah. There's, if you're trying to win a big trophy, as you noted earlier, you don't want any to miss. And the idea is to put in only the ones that you think can medal. And I guess if you're looking to save money, like not spend too much money, you want to get as many medals as possible. You have to be really judicious on your entries. And that results in more medals overall. But I do think an 80% medaling rate is nearly close to getting the prize for participation. But it's,
I think it is exactly what you were saying, that brewers are being very selective about what they enter. The number of entries was down again. It's been a continuing slide from 2021. There were 838 entries, and now we're down at 625. And it's I think it's a focus on making sure you get a medal, and enter the right thing, enter it in the right category, is really important for brewers.
I agree entirely. I was being a little facetious there with the participation thing. I'm not yet an old boomer yelling at the system that's gone wrong. But what I also think, and I truly believe this, is that the quality of beer in New Zealand is at the best it's ever been. And I think this happens every year. The knowledge base increases every year, the quality of ingredients, the understanding of processes. And I think these awards also provide this really good feedback over the years to breweries that sort of, in my participation in the New World Beer Insider Awards, I know this when you see the notes come back for beers that are not up to the mark. And they're very exacting in the comments, to the point where, the good judges will tell that brewery what is wrong with their beer and how to fix it. To an extent, check your fermentation issues. It's oxidized for whatever reason. You've used old hops, all these different things. And so anyone who enters a competition gets that feedback and acts on it is going to improve their beers. And I think combine all those factors, great quality, judicious entries, and careful, I guess, selection of what you're putting in, you get a high medal count. So, yeah, it's a positive for the industry, I think, and a positive for the consumer. It's
I agree.
yeah,
I think it's I think if you are a beer drinker and you want to know what you should be drinking, I think you can rely on these awards to point you in the right direction. They are well judged. They are, as we said, that there are occasionally some that sneak through and didn't get a medal, and when maybe they should. So not saying that beers that didn't win a medal aren't worth your interest, but certainly the ones that did, absolutely, they are. It's a really
and a beer can be good and miss out on a medal because it didn't quite meet the very tight technical specifications. It can taste great, but it might be, it might get marked down bizarrely on its color or appearance. If the bitterness isn't quite exact based on the various palates that are judging it, there are a number of factors that can affect a great tasting beer and take it down. We didn't mention the wooden barrel aged class. We did mention Garage Project, and they got a trophy in this. And I can't say this word, Martin. I have no idea. I know the translation is angel's piss, but
angel's piss or something. My Dutch is not all that great. I think it's Dutch. Is it Flemish? Maybe. And that was another World Beer Cup winning medaling beer. So great to see that translate that win into a trophy. In New Zealand.
So they Garage Project, the two trophies they won both came out of the Wild Workshop, which is pretty cool. I heard a funny story. They had a big night on the night, Garage Project. There was a lot to celebrate. And they flew back to Wellington, maybe a little worse for wear. And a lot of the Wild Workshop crew were there. And the weather in the week after the Beer Awards was absolutely perfect for making the next wild ale that they were doing, because they have this in Marion Street in the Wild Workshop. They have an area where they have a cool ship, and they open the windows and let all the bugs come in to inoculate the beer. And you need a still, frosty, cold night to do it.
Yeah.
And the weather was absolutely perfect, like literally the next couple of days after the awards. And so poor old Dave Bell, the head brewer there, he has to sort of sleep with the beer. And he had to do it in perhaps a less than happy state in terms of how his head might be feeling. So, but yeah, so that was
the
probably
the beer gods were having a laugh at his expense.
Yes.
I'm sure. Yes, here we go. You've just you're a bit dusty, but you've got to sleep with a cool ship.
Yeah. And that will be the makings possibly of a chance, like in Magic, 3 years from now, 2028 maybe, because I think while they blend a number of years worth of stock for this now, I think the most recent 3 years probably make up the bulk of it. So what they're brewing now will be tasting in 3 years, hopefully. So yeah, it's a nice little rejoinder to that happy weekend. Hey, I think we've covered everything. I think we've talked about every trophy winner, a few gold medal winners. I think a really interesting set of awards. And if you want to jump onto the Hoppiness website, there's a couple of stories there with a list of all the winners and a PDF with the results, so you can scroll through it and have a look. But I think, Martin, that's going to be us for a little week or two, maybe. We've got a lot coming up. We've got... What's that?
Possibly, yeah. I think we might have to a minor hiatus because we've got Beervana on the horizon, and that's the highlight of the New Zealand beer year, I think, for a lot of people. And we will be presenting some workshops during the Beervana sessions, so there's a bit of work for us to do to get ready for that, and then to go down to Wellington for that. And I hope that everybody goes to Beervana. If there are still tickets available, you should get your tickets now and come and see us and come and say hello. And we will be around, both kind of wandering around the festival and presenting those workshops. So I hope that people will come and say hello, tell us what you think about the podcast, give us your feedback. We'd love to hear it.
Yep, absolutely. So that we will be back at an unspecified time. We have many more interviews up our sleeve, and we will hopefully be recording the sessions at Beervana. And I think they'll be really good. I think we'll have some good guests there. So until you hear from us next time, somewhere in the future, enjoy your beer, drink good beer always.
Absolutely.
And you've been listening to The Third Pint Theory with Michael Donaldson and
Martin
Bridges. Yes. So good night. Good luck. See you all next time.
Cheers.